You might think that legendary figures like Henry Ford, the automobile innovator, and Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate, are far beyond reach. But in reality, they started just like anyone else. These giants of industry didn't come from wealth or have any significant family connections. They began their journeys with minimal resources and achieved extraordinary success. Napoleon Hill is like the grandfather of the self-help book genre. Even though his heyday was in the early 20th century, many of his ideas continue to fill the pages of today's top motivational and secrets of success books. The times may have changed, but people are still people. It was one of the author's specialties to look at human nature and figure out which of our habits can lead to success and which can lead to ruin. In this video, I'll discuss one of Napoleon Hill's top books, The Law of Success, and I've prepared 6 lessons from it that can guide you towards significant achievements and success. With no further delay, let me begin with first lesson, the concept of mastermind. Have you ever been in the same room as someone else and intuitively known that they're not on the same wavelength as you? That you simply understand without speaking to this person that your personalities are going to be like oil and water? Similarly, just as you can sense negative vibes, you can also detect positive ones. Furthermore, when you connect with someone whose personality aligns with yours and who is open-minded, you can access their wealth of knowledge, and they can access yours in return. Now, when you have a team of people with the right minds and personalities, you can collectively harmonize and form a mastermind, which can go on to create truly amazing things that would otherwise be out of reach to a mere individual. This is an important point. Carnegie, Wrigley, Ford. These men weren't alone in creating their fortunes. Each one made it a point to spend time with his peers and to help one another succeed. For example, Ford went on regular retreats with the inventor Thomas Edison and Harvey Firestone, the founder of the world-renowned tire and rubber company that bears his name. They shared priceless wisdom and benefited immensely by expanding their sources of knowledge. However, keep in mind that masterminds form only when there's harmony in personalities and intentions. Introducing someone with a negative and selfish disposition can quickly disrupt this balance. Number 2, success requires a definite chief aim and self-confidence. No matter whose success story you most admire, there's one primary asset that assured that person's triumph: their brain. If you took away all of the money, the personnel, the factories, and the tools, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie would all be able to restart their businesses in no time. Because power comes first and foremost from the mind. Let's simplify the definition of success. According to Hill, success is the ability to achieve whatever one desires in life without infringing on the rights of others. Consequently, it's vital to have a clear primary goal to achieve success. The most effective action one can take is to apply your structured knowledge through coordinated efforts, establishing a mastermind of aligned partners and employees all focused on a specific objective. This is all quite abstract, so let's look at a real-world example. Frank Winfield Woolworth came from a modest family, and in his early 20s, he was a stock boy at a general store in New York. But he had ambitions. So while he worked his meager job, he dreamt of new and more efficient ways in which a general store could be run. Eventually, Woolworth made it his definite chief aim to see a chain of his own 5 and 10 cent stores operating throughout America. But his success wouldn't be realized until he honed his mind and his actions fully upon this one task. We all have a certain fear of failure. We fear what people might say if we aim high and end up falling short. But success requires doing, which in turn requires the level of self-confidence willing to commit to an idea and take action. To cultivate self-confidence, the author is a big believer in auto-suggestion. This is the repeated input of positive messages that will eventually take root, and turn those negative fear-based feelings into the kind of positive self-confidence that can turn ideas into reality. Number 3, the habit of saving, initiative, and leadership is a must for success. As far as so-called secrets of success go, saving money isn't exactly a mystery. Knowing you should save money and actually doing it are two different things. Often, mastering a skill requires consistent, repeated actions to develop a habit that will yield long-term benefits. One of the biggest favors you can do for yourself right now is to save money. Ideally, your salary should be divided up in the following way. 50% should go to food, clothing, and shelter. 10% should go to your continued education. Another 10% should go to life insurance, and 10% to recreation. The remaining 20% goes into your savings. There are at least 2 significant reasons for starting to save money immediately. The first is that this money may provide you with the funding you need to take action. So, when a great idea strikes, you may already have the resources necessary to build a prototype or travel to places where you can sell your idea. But even if you don't have that much, the simple habit of saving will send the right message to the investors who do have the money you need. Woolworth, Ford, Rockefeller, they didn't have the money they needed to start their game-changing businesses. But since they were in the habit of saving a portion of their small monthly salaries, their investors trusted them enough to issue the loans they needed. Another habit is initiative and leadership. Initiative is an essential requirement for leadership. Leaders can't wait for someone to tell them what to do. They must sense what the right action is and do it. The opposite of initiative is procrastination, one of the deadliest enemies of success. Fortunately, procrastination can be swiftly eliminated by starting a new habit of initiative. Commit to yourself that each day you will accomplish at least one task that moves you closer to your primary goal. Additionally, pledge to perform an act of value for someone else daily without being prompted. By adopting this approach, you'll overcome procrastination and establish a more beneficial habit, paving the way for future rewards. Number 4, keep yourself under control and work more than you have to. Many people are afraid of being criticized. It can be tough to deal with harsh words from others, whether they're friends or competitors, but it's important to learn how to handle it. Everyone who has ever succeeded has faced criticism at some point, and this is where the importance of self-control comes in. When receiving criticism, your first instinct may be to lash out at your critics, with as much venom as they were using on you. But it can be deadly to let this kind of negativity take over. There's a saying that like attracts like. The author deeply believes that engaging with negativity only invites more of it into your life. Instead, one should exercise self-control and maintain a positive outlook. A useful strategy the author recommends is writing a letter to your critic. This allows you to express your thoughts and clear your mind without escalating the situation. Instead of sending the letter, you can either destroy it or save it as a reminder of your personal growth. Now, let's look at another successful habit you can start nurturing right now: doing more than what you're paid for. You might be someone who resists working overtime or doing tasks not specifically outlined in your job description. However, these practices don't usually pave the way to success. By routinely going above and beyond the call of duty, you're demonstrating value and potential to those around you. This will be noticed, and your efforts won't go unrewarded for long. The author sees this as a twist on the law of increasing returns. If you continue rendering more service than you're expected to, and that value is appreciated, the world will reward you in the long run. Number 5, concentration and cooperation. As Hill defines it, concentration is more than just staying focused. It's the ability, through fixed habit and practice, to keep your mind on one subject until you've thoroughly familiarized yourself with that subject and mastered it. In other words, concentration is the path to self-mastery. To succeed, you need to think about your actions and figure out your bad habits and biases. The best way to stop bad habits is to start good ones, and this takes concentration. Creating new habits of initiative and making a daily practice of instilling positive thoughts and self-confidence through autosuggestion requires dedication and concentration. Like most of the lessons imparted here, you won't see the results until you make changes and see them through to the end. In many ways, the most effective change you can create is through cooperation. Let's say you make it a daily habit to read and memorize positive statements, such as, "I am going to become a powerful public speaker because this will help me to provide the world a useful service and achieve my definite purpose." By repeating this sentence, it'll take root in your subconscious, and when this happens, you'll begin to transform yourself and your life. This is because the ideas that are in your subconscious invariably manifest themselves in your daily actions and decisions. If your subconscious believes you'll never be a good public speaker, that's your reality. But through autosuggestion, you can change that. The choices you make will begin to lead you toward becoming a confident public speaker. This is the phenomenal power of cooperation between your conscious and subconscious mind. Number 6, failure is temporary. For many of us, a fear of failure is closely associated with fear of poverty. Along with worrying about what people might say if we fail in our endeavors, we also fear that if we follow our dreams, we might end up penniless. Thankfully, there's an easy idea that can help beat this constant challenge. Failure is temporary. For most people who are trying to achieve something, failure is just a small hurdle. It can even be a good thing because we learn from it, grow stronger, and become smarter. So we should really call failure a temporary setback. Seen this way, what is there to really be scared of? By the time he was in his 40s, the author had experienced 7 significant setbacks that forced him to reassess, recover, and attempt anew. Indeed, it was through these apparent failures that he identified several key principles that constitute the law of success. There was a noted clergyman who once said, "Give me the control of the child until it is 12 years old, and you can teach it any religion you may please after that time, for I will have planted my own religion so deeply in its mind that no power on earth could undo my work." There is truth to this statement, since by the time we reach our teens, everything from our political allegiances to which sports team we root for are firmly implanted in our mind. But sometimes, these biases aren't good. Tolerance is about remaining open-minded toward all people, no matter their beliefs. Intolerance is what starts wars, tears apart societies, and creates enemies. It's to be avoided at all costs. At the end of this video, I want to conclude with probably the most important rule from the entire book. That sounds this way: treat others as you would like to be treated. This principle has been around for ages, yet it remains deeply significant. Thanks everyone for watching. If you found my video helpful, please leave your like and subscribe to my channel.